Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Reading Resources. My name is Melissa Apple, and I am here with my coworker, Andrew Romano, and we are both librarians in the Adult/Young Adult Services Department. And we're here tonight to give you some ways to find new reading material for the summer. I know we might all have busy schedules, but we might also have some more downtime for reading, which I know I really love to get caught up on, my reading list in the summer. So if you're the same way, we've got a couple of reading resources that aren't necessarily, pertaining directly to Oak Lawn Library, but they are resources that we all use all the time and we recommend to our patrons because they're great ways to find your next read and kind of connect with other people. And also that we have a couple of resources that are related to the library that we'd love to show you, just so you kind of know a couple more things that the Oak Lawn Library has to offer for you online and through our databases. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. My first resource might be one that you've heard of, before, but maybe you have or have not used it. I'm just going to give a brief overview of Goodreads.com. So if you give me 1 second, I'm just going to share my screen with you. Oops, hang on, I don't know where my Goodreads went. Here we go. There it is. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and you're going to see the Goodreads screen. This is the homepage that you'll see when I'm currently logged in, and I'm just going to kind of show you. Creating an account is very easy. You basically just need like your name and an email address. So it's just like any other website when you create an account and a password. So I'm not going to go through all of that just because I feel like hopefully you're pretty familiar with that, but I just want to kind of go over the basics of Goodreads here. So Goodreads is a great way to keep track of the books that you've read, the books that you want to read, and the books that, are on your like to be read list that, you're never going to keep track of because we all have lists this long. So this is a really good way to keep track of it. And it's also a good way to connect with other friends who are on Goodreads. And as you can see here on the homepage, it'll show you what other people that you're friends with are reading. So, but before we get into that, let's just kind of go over the basics under My Books is a good place to start, because then that is where you're going to see the books that you have read, and you can go right to your read bookshelf and you can see what you've read. That way you can kind of keep track, because I know, especially if you really love an author and they're releasing books all the time, and then you're like, wait a minute, it's been a year, have I read this book? You can go back and check your read list and see that you have read it. So it's a really great way to keep track of what you've read, what you've liked, especially if you read something by an author that you really liked. You can go back and be like, what was that author? Oh yeah. And then you can come to the library and say, hey, I really like books by this author. Do you have other books by that author? So that's a really good way to keep track of that. And I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. And then currently reading is what you are obviously reading right now at the moment. And then want to read is what I mentioned, where you have all the other books that sound really great that you're just like, I'm going to get to them at some point. So that's kind of like your bookshelf, which is kind of what you used Goodreads for the most. But real quick, let me go back to home and just kind of show you how to get books to those shelves. So let's say if you're searching a book, and I'm just going to search the book I'm currently reading for my book club, which is These Ghosts Are Family. And as you can see, as you start to type, things are going to pop up. This is the one I want by Maisie Card. So I'm going to click on it. And then it's going to bring up, the summary of the book. And the best part is you're going to get, see what the reviews are. If any of your friends have read the book, you'll see this here. You can, see if there's a question you have, and then scroll down, and then here's just a whole bunch of reviews from people who've read the book. And you can filter it too, if you want to filter it by, you want to see what people who only gave it a 1-star said or a 5-star. You can kind of, filter it by that. But it's kind of nice in order to kind of get an idea if it's something you want to read even before you start. So let's say, yeah, I do want to read that. So you can either click on the want to read, Or if you click on the little arrow down, you can click, okay, I'm reading it right now. Or if you finished it, you can click on read. And also another nice handy thing is if you have like a certain shelf that you want to put the book in, like I have, memoirs and I have audiobooks. So let's say I read the audiobook version of it, you could put it in that shelf. So that way, when you go back to see what audiobooks you've listened to or want to listen to, they're all in that shelf. So it kind of divides it. It makes it so it's not all in one giant thing. It's kind of like creating separate folders, if you will. But let's just say I read this book. So I'm going to click on read. And then here is where you could give a rating of a book. So let's say I kind of liked it, but I wasn't like crazy. I could give it 3 or 4 stars. We'll be in a positive mood and we'll give it 4 stars. And then this is where if you want to put it on a different shelf than your regular shelf, you click there and click whichever one you want. So just for fun, we'll just put it in your memoir. And then if you wanted to write a review, totally optional, you would just type it in here, intense, thriller, whatever, however you want to word it. I'm not going to add it, but you can just type your review there and you can add little things like if you like to keep track of when you read a book, you can put when you started and finished the book. And then you can add it to your update feed. So it'll show up when your friends see what you're reading, that will show up there. So you can just go ahead and click post and then it'll be there. And then when you go back to my books and read, there it is right on the top. So, and then we can also do, like, let's say if you're currently reading something and you finished it, you can also go to, okay, so let's say I finished March book 1. You can go to edit and just click on read. And then, oops, shouldn't need to click on the shelf. Okay, so that one will just, go to read. And then right here is where you can add your rating. And we could also do it, I believe, this way too. Hold on one second. Yes, so your books also do show up here. And then you can update progress by clicking on this too. Or even if you wanted to update your friends that you're on page 200, oops, not 2000, 200, or you're finished, you can update your progress here. So that's kind of like a fun way to keep track of what you're reading and let other people know. And also if you want to challenge yourself, you can challenge yourself to read however many books you want. So real quick, I just want to go over a couple other features that I think are really helpful when trying to find a good read. Under the Browse button here, you can kind of go through all of these recommendations, giveaways. If there's books you like, you can sign up for giveaways for them, new releases. I really like the lists myself, especially if you're kind of just in the mood to scroll, you're not quite sure what you want to read, or you are and you just want to find a list of those types of books. Like let's say you really want something mystery and thriller for 2021, or food books. How about food books, nonfiction? You just click on this and you can just scroll through some ideas of books that are about, food. So this is really nice. That way, it kind of makes it easy if there's something that you're looking for to read more specifically. It kind of divides it by genre and even down further. So you can really find exactly what you're looking for, which is really nice. So like, let's say, and it's an easy way to add things to your want to read list. Like, let's say I want to read Memories of Philippine Kitchens. I can just click on want to read right there, and then it's going to go right to my want to read list. So it's really handy to have that. And so I highly recommend clicking on the browse if you're just kind of in the mood to look for something. And if you really want to engage with other people that are also on Goodreads, you can use community to kind of connect yourself with other readers, have discussions, trivia, all sorts of things. So yeah, let me see. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything important. And then these tabs over here, they just kind of let you know if there's a new giveaway. This little chat button lets you, if you're in any discussions. These are just your messages. Oops, except I have to confirm. So, if you have to confirm it, that's not a big deal. Remember your password, just like any other website. Remember your password. There you go. And here, let's see. Here's where you can add friends. Let's just try to add one. Let's see if I can. So if you know who you're looking for, you can find somebody. Let me see if I can find myself real quick. I'm not sure that's me, but let's just say it is. And then you can just click on add as a friend. I'm not going to do that in case not the right person, but just so you get the idea. If you know somebody's on Goodreads, or you can also look in your address book or through Facebook and find your other contacts. And then that's how you kind of grow the community of people that you know. And then when you're on the homepage, you'll see a much greater list of updates of what people are reading and want to read, because you'll get all of your friends there. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen with that. Give me 1 second, and I'll turn it over to Anne. She's going to talk about our next resource.
Hi, everyone. So I'm going to offer a little bit of a different, let's see. I can't find my window. It's happened to Melissa too. A little bit of a different option to Goodreads. Same idea. It's a place where you're going to track your reading. It's called the Storygraph, and the Storygraph is a new resource. It's really cool. It is, if you didn't know, Goodreads is owned by Amazon, and so Storygraph is trying to present an option that isn't Amazon for people. And I'm not signed into my account right now, but there is an easy way to sign up right here. You just put everything in the sign up tab up here, and then you'll get personalized recommendations. Right now, you're not seeing those because I'm not signed in, but in this section, these book covers, these would actually be things you're interested in based on the books you're reading. And for those of you wondering, you absolutely can get your library transferred from Goodreads to Storygraph. There's a way to import that information. So if you've been using Goodreads for years, don't worry. All that information will come over to Storygraph for you. So there's a couple really neat things about Storygraph that you don't find in Goodreads. One of them is much more robust. I guess I would call it, book pages in terms of description. You've got community reviews with percentages here, which I think is really interesting. So you can kind of get a sense of what the book is. You've got your average rating, just like on Goodreads. Some books will also have content warnings, which, we'll see what, this site is in flux. It's being built. So things have changed a lot. So we'll see what shows up here when they've finalized what they're going to do with content warnings. You also could do personalized similar books by here. So that's pretty cool. They've, just like Amazon, got links to buy. Just like Amazon, you can change to read, currently reading. And then one of the things I like about Storygraph is did not finish. A lot of times I don't finish a book, but I want to tell people why I didn't finish it. This is a really good option for that. I love it. So the other thing that I really like in Storygraph is reading challenges, which is here on the top. And there are all kinds of reading challenges put in by all different kinds of people. It looks like the Storygraph has 3 up here that they've done. And you will, work through your TBR, work through, reading and complete these challenges that the Storygraph has laid out. And if your friend starts one, you can find that. There are so many different ways. Your book club could have a challenge. It's really neat to have that within the platform. Lastly, I just do want to show you what community looks like. It's not as robust, I don't think, as the Goodreads social options. You can follow people by, liking them. You can click on their profile and see what they've got listed, if they've got anything listed. This is kind of what a profile page looks like. Has a reading goal, has a pages goal, it has all that. Shows what challenges a person has looked at, that kind of thing. So, I think they're working on this community. I think that it's going to be something great eventually if you're willing to be along for the ride. There are free memberships. There are also currently paid memberships because the person developing this is trying to make it as good as possible without corporate sort of interference. So I think that it's a really cool option for people who are looking for something a little different. So that's what I have to say about the Storygraph. Really a very, very cool website. So now we're going to shift gears a little bit, like Melissa mentioned. We've also got some resources that are library focused and something that the library provides for you. And the next one of those is going to be Novelist. Novelist you can get to by going to our website at olpl.org, going to research, A to Z resources, and then scrolling down all the way to end to Novelist, and just click on the name and it'll pop up, hopefully. So Novelist has a lot of really cool, robust features. I know it looks a little older. I think it could use a refresh, but it is great for finding something new to read. I really cannot state that enough. The first thing I want to point out is these recommended read lists over on the left side. There's fiction and nonfiction. There's different age groups so that if you're looking for a teen, you can find something. Same with your middle grade reader, your kids. And then when you click on one of these, it brings up different lists. Some have more, some have less. So Canadian fiction, kind of small, fantasy, much bigger. When you click on one of these lists, so let's say I'm a romance reader and I want to read something very historical. So I'm going to click on Regency Rogues. And what that's going to bring up is a list of books that Novelist thinks meet that criteria. It can be a little slow sometimes. But so you've got a list of books. There's a popularity rating, though I find that that doesn't really influence how much I like it. These tend to be newer books, so it's really fun if you're looking for newer reads, for sure. And you can see all the covers here, all the different authors. I think many of these covers look similar because we're looking at a specific type of book, Regency. I'm going to pick one that I haven't read, and I'll just go to the top. I think this To Catch an Earl looks interesting. So there's a way to find out if we have it from this interface. If I click on it and give it a second to get where it needs to go, there's a link that I can click that will take me directly to our catalog right here. Check availability at Oak Lawn. And that will take me to our library catalog and we'll say, oh, we don't own that one. But I could, of course, request it. So that's kind of nice. The other feature that I really love on this screen is I love that you can see readalikes on this right side. So you can see, oh, like this is like Julia Quinn's because of Miss Bridgerton. I love Bridgerton. This would be great. Or, well, I've heard of Bridgerton. I haven't read it. And so you can click on this book and you'll get to the same page for this book, which then will give you, your list more like this. It tells you what series it's a part of. It gives you some appeal terms so you can sort of see if it's going to be something you like. The other thing, maybe I've read this one, but I want to look for more Julia Quinn books. You can click on the author's name because everything is, linked here. And when you click on the author's name, it's going to take you to a list of her books. And you can get them in series order by clicking on series right here. Right now, they're listed in publication order, so you can see that. I think this is a really great way to see everything that an author has published. Definitely, Julia Quinn is very prolific, as you can see as I scroll. And then again, we have a read alike section on the right side where you can click on any of these links to be taken to authors who write like Julia Quinn or write books similar to Julia Quinn's books, which I think is a really incredible feature when you've read everything by an author and you're ready now to move on to a different author, or you don't have a choice, you have to move on to a different author. So I think that's really fun. And each of these books has the check availability at Oak Lawn, so you can just do that right from in here. It'll open in a new tab, so your Novelist window will always be here for you. You can print from these. These create nice printable lists. You can see this is much more friendly to print, so that's pretty great. And we'll be happy to print up lists for you if you would like a series list for something. Then the last thing I want to demo in Novelist is something that I think is wildly fun to play with. And also really strange and weird. And it's called the Appeal Mixer. And the Appeal Mixer is sort of you deciding what things do I like out of book. So you would select a category. I'm going to do character. I like a large cast of characters. I want a book with lots of people in it. So I'm choosing that. Let's say I'm also going to choose a pace. I want a fast-paced book. And I think that's enough for now. I'm going to see what they come up with. And so you'll click find titles, and it's going to come up with, this came up with 301 things that have that. And believe it or not, I have read some of the books on this page right now. So I have read They're There. And so I realize this is a good appeal mix for me. Maybe I can find something I haven't read. It looks like a lot of this is science fiction, which isn't surprising to me. That's something that makes sense. Unfortunately, it looks like a lot of these are things that I've read or I'm not interested in. So maybe I want to go back to the one I did read, which was They're There. And maybe I want to click on that one and see what it says the appeal factors are and see what the readalikes are. So you've got, character, large cast of characters, paced, fast pace. The tone in this also, like, maybe I need to add a dramatic tone to my appeal mixer. But then again, I could also just come to the right side and find other books that might be appealing to me. So I think that that's I've played with the appeal mixer at times for I've spent, a half hour playing and just seeing what things I can come up with the appeal mixer. And there are some combinations that you can create that no books come up. So there might be something that you like that there are no books that exist for that. I'm being facetious because I'm sure there's a book out there. Just maybe Novelist isn't that great at finding it. This can be accessed from your house. Even though it's a library resource, you can access Novelist from your home with your Oakland Library card and your PIN number. And you can also access it within the library. You can ask us to access it for you. We're happy to help with it. It's definitely got a lot of fun things going on for browsing and finding new books. Because it's a database, it's not a website, there's no social aspects really to it at all. So that is the one thing, like, you're not getting that connection with other readers in it, but that's why I'm going to hand it over to Melissa, because she's going to tell you how to find that in Oakland resources.
Okay, yes. So the final resource for tonight that I wanted to talk about kind of is what we use to tie this all together. So since we're all readers here and we've found some new books to read, I just want to tell you really quick about Beanstack, which is what we have to keep track of reading. So we offer throughout the year a variety of reading programs for all ages, kids, teens, adults. And I just wanted to go over with you briefly how to access it and how to make an account and how to use it so that you're reading and also kind of, getting something out of it, but also just kind of having fun, keeping track of your reading with the library and with, your family, especially with summer reading. So let me just hopefully have better luck with my screen this time. Give me one sec. Yeah, so I'm going to start on our library homepage. And then, so from our library homepage, which is olpl.org, you can again go to the research tab where Ange went and go to A to Z resources and just go right to Beanstack here alphabetically. And then we're going to click on it. So if you have already used Beanstack before, you can go ahead and sign in. But if not, I wanted to show you quickly how to create an account. So you'll scroll down to here. So you'll have the option of either creating an account or signing in if you already have one. And just kind of, here's an overview. It's very simple to use, which is why we love it. So if you've already, it's going to ask you again if you've used it. If you have, select yes. And then again, it's going to be like a email password kind of thing. So for the sake of this, we're just going to say no. And then you can either register yourself, or if you're registering your child, you would click the appropriate box. And also a nice feature with Beanstack is even if you register yourself, you can always add readers to your account. So you can add, your spouse, you can add your children. And then that way you're all tied together as one, one family, which is very nice. So to register for Beanstack, you're just going to enter all this info, and I'm going to try to add a dummy account that I haven't created before. So let me just put, I'm going to try a dummy last name and see if it works. By chance, it will be okay. So obviously you'll enter your first and last name, your email. I'm going to have to use an old phone number that's no longer in use, just because I've gone through all of these making a test. So obviously you're going to want to create a password that you're going to remember, you know, just like with any other website you use. So I'm going to go ahead and do one that I'm going to remember. And then age. So if you are an adult, you're going to just put 18 plus. And obviously, if you're younger, you're going to put that age, and then you'll answer what grade level you'll be in. So 18 plus, and then grade level, you don't have to worry about that. You're just going to click adult for this if you're an adult. And then another nice feature, if you want to receive book recommendations, you can click the yes, and then you'll get recommendations from Beanstack for books, depending on what you read. So let's go ahead. Uh-oh, someone's using my email. All right, hold on. I didn't want to do this beforehand because then it would already have another email in use. So this might just take a second. Okay, so your reading profile has been created. So right now you'll see there's a couple of challenges that are going on. And it's going to ask you to select one. So Lifelong Reading Program is an ongoing reading program that you can join anytime and add books to it. And then Reading Colors Your World is for teens and adults. And it's only showing teens and adults because you registered as an adult. If you had a child, it would show for our youth services summer program. So, and if you had both a teen and a kid and a child, you'd be able to do both. But for the sake of this demo, I'm just going to show for this. So I'm going to be like, well, you know, why not? I'm going to register for this one. And then you just put adult again, then join challenge. And I'm registered. And I can go ahead if I want to, you know, just save this for now. And then lifelong, sure. We're going to want to go and just do all the challenges. And then next, if you wanted to add someone here, another adult, but I'm just going to say no. And if you had a kid, this is where you would add the child. But just for the sake of this, I'm just going to say no, just so you can see what I see once you log in. So you're going to see that the challenges that I am participating in. Now, if I hadn't joined one of these yet, it'll still show that I haven't joined it, and it'll give me the option to join challenge. But we're already registered. So the nice thing, so it's a Reading Colors Your World. It's by days. So for every 5 days that you read, you get a raffle ticket. And once you complete 30 days of reading, you get our completion prize, which is a certificate for Illuminati's Pizza. So let's say, okay, I signed up and I've read days. So I'm going to click on days. And then let me see if I can go here. Okay, so this is actually where the badges are. I'm sorry, I wanted to go to reading log first. Okay, here we go. Apologies, it's been a little while since I used this, so I'm just kind of reviewing myself. So you're gonna go ahead and click on the days. I think you can just start from today, actually. So today would be the first day that you've read. I don't think it lets you go back. So let's say if you signed up today and then you come back, you'll be able to click on each day to log your reading. And then after every 5 days of reading, you'll be able to get a raffle ticket. And then you're also going to get badges, which you're going to see here is an adventure badge because I registered. And this is where you can kind of see what else you're doing. So challenges. So we also have lifelong, and lifelong is a little bit different than days. This one is by book. So let's say I read a book and I want to add it here. Let me see if I can go to the reading log here. Oops, I'm sorry. They changed this a little bit. And so I'm like, kind of relearning here as we go along. How do you want to log? All right. Sorry about that. It's just, so yeah. So let's say we finished the book today, June 14th, one book read. And if you want to, you can add the title. So let's go back to the one that I was reading before. Our family. Oh, there you go. Usually it'll pop up. And then if you want to write a review, which sometimes some of the challenges include reviews, you could say yes if you wanted to. I'm just going to say no, and I'm going to say logged. So there you go. You got your first log for Lifelong. So let me go back actually and show you. This is where you log your days. My apologies. There we go. And then, yeah, you can backtrack. So just go ahead. So you've logged, let's say you read every day. We're just going to highlight, or let's say you skipped a couple days. You didn't get a chance to read Thursday, Friday, but you got to read Saturday, Sunday. Or if it's like the end of the month, you can always click select entire month. You can do that at any time. So you don't have to click every single day. So let's say I did read every day. You would just hit that. And then, all right, so I've got 14 days read, and I'm going to log that, and that'll go log 10 days, and that'll go for the summer reading program. So you'll see now that I've logged 10 days, you've got your tickets, you can enter the drawing, and then you can choose which one you'd like to put your ticket in. I'm not actually going to put it in there, but you can see what your options are, and then you would just go in and enter your ticket there. So, so that's basically how the challenges work, and that's mostly what you're going to be doing when you're using Beanstack is logging your books or logging your days, depending on the challenge. And anytime there's a new challenge that you can participate in, it's going to show up here and let you join the challenge if you're able to. Let me just see if there's anything else I want to add. You can also play around with all the other options, like if you wanted to do, reviews, you can write them here under reviews. I know sometimes in the past we've had challenges where we ask you to write a review for a raffle ticket. So that's where you would come to do that. You do have the option to, if you have any other friends that you know are using Beanstack, this is where the kind of community part comes in and you'd be able to add them. And then recommendations is kind of nice. That's where you're going to get like, let me see, some book lists come up. Yeah, so there's an adult reading list that you can check out, and then you're already signed up, so you will get our recommendations too by email. And you can also click up here if you want to add a review. And just to go over one more time, this is where you log all your reading and activities. Now, I know like our youth services department is doing more of an adventure type of program, so they would probably have something that says like log challenges. And that's where you would go for if you were logging your child's reading log. So that's kind of basically the overview of it, but it is just nice when we have challenges. If you're reading already, you can participate in these challenges to, enter to win prizes and just kind of, also have another way to keep track of your reading. So let me just stop sharing my screen for just a second. So that was what we had planned for you tonight. If you have any questions for us anytime, you can always stop up at the reference desk or give the library a call, or we do have on our homepage an option to chat. So, the hours that we're open, you can chat with us. It goes right to one of us in the young adult department. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions or need some reading recommendations for the summer. Thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight.